all mowed up, and I just want to show you here what the Skag does. For reference, this is a 48 with the 22 horsepower engine, and it just leaves a lot of clumps. Maybe you can see that. So I'm gonna have to come out here. I'll finish weed eating these trees, but I'm gonna come out here and blow off all these clumps. And it's very frustrating, right? Because if it's dry, the cut quality is absolutely perfect. Just so perfect. But once you get into these crabgrass sections, you know, you just get left with clumps. And it's something about the deck. It gets so much buildup so quickly. And I'll show you over here, because this section on this side is all centipede turf, and it leaves a perfectly fine finish. So what it comes along to feeling like is, look, there's no clumps, there's no clippings, it's just clean. One pass, it's fine. Okay, let me see if I can get down here. Perfectly clean. And the thing is, this is centipede, and then the section over here in the middle turns into crabgrass. And I'll just show you. I have to push mow here. It's all crabgrass, and there's a little bit of clump to blow out, but that's because I stopped the blade there. And so what's frustrating to me is the push mower. I have to push mow this section here. No clumps, perfectly clean with the push mower. That middle section is 90% clean with the push mower, except for where I shut the blades off, which is going to happen with anything. But the buildup on the 48 Skag is just, it's so much that, you know, I haven't found any fixes or you know, there's a baffle in here that I can play around with. I haven't done that yet, but it's kind of a pain in the neck. Maybe that'll help, maybe it won't, but the buildup is just, when you get into crabgrass in the morning dew, it is just so much. And the thing about it is, you know, the turf parts, even in the morning dew, they cut perfectly clean. It feels like they didn't do any testing in wet conditions. You know, like, unless, like, just for a basic lawn. Because these centipede, fescue, even Bermuda with a little bit of moisture will cut pretty darn well. But you get into a real lawn with weeds, if it's before, you know, 12 o'clock in our area, you know, you almost immediately get that clumping. Oh, we'll just scrape the deck. I can't scrape the deck every single pass or half pass. I just can't do it, you know. Oh, we'll double cut it. Why? It builds up so much that even if you double cut, it's going to be sending out clumps, you know, like smaller clumps, sure, but I have to like triple cut with this thing in crabgrass. And it's just frustrating, man. You know, like, you spend $10,000 on a machine, and it's gutless, you know. That I don't know if it's the horsepower of the engine, you know, being 22 is just gutless, you know. But then that begs the question, why the heck are you putting such a small engine on a machine that costs so much, you know? Yeah, I'm totally, not totally, but I'm almost totally regretting the Skag purchase this year. It spent a month in the shop with the spindles, and I got it back. And again, if it's dry, it cuts beautifully. It cuts perfectly. You can cut fast. But just certain like wet condition, and by the way, not even wet conditions do, it just falls apart. You know, it loses all of its nice cutting ability. it just, yeah, it's just disappointing. And again, I should have just not tried to save money this year, and I should have just went straight with another 60-inch with a 30+ horsepower engine, because my John Deere cuts these same yards flawlessly. It's got almost 1,400 hours on it, and you mow a lot like this, and you pull up thinking, oh, I'm going to scrape the deck. It doesn't have buildup on the deck. That 7-iron deck on the John Deere just doesn't build up. Like, I don't know how to say it any other way. Like, I had gotten so used to cutting with the Skag and dealing with that extreme buildup under the deck that whenever I was using the Deere for backup, I got up here like, okay, I'll scrape the deck now, and it was perfectly clean metal all the way around. Unbelievable. And you look back at the lawn, 7:30 in the morning, 8:30 in the morning, perfectly level, perfectly clean, right? With some exceptions on these taller lawns, but big disappointment. All right, check it out. So, sitting in the truck after that yard, and this is something I've wanted to do for a little bit, right? Because I feel like some of the numbers on YouTube that people share are crazy, you know, like don't make any sense. Like one guy was kind of bragging that he built up 100 customers making $8,000 a month mowing, and I hear those numbers and I think, oh, I would be miserable. I would jump off a cliff, because, you know, I sat down and did my numbers just a month ago, and we're at 30. At that time we were at 37 customers. I've picked up 3 since then, and those 37 customers are bringing in $7,500 a month. Okay, and they're not priced optimally. A lot of these people are, you know, 10-year long customers, and they've been around a while. They've gotten, you know, a little bit of a nice treatment as far as their pricing goes, because they help build the business, right? But here, let me just go over a couple of these numbers here, and you can math it out and do all this, because I always, what I'll do, because it's September 1st or September 2nd, right after the holiday, and so what I'll do is I will go into my scheduling book here, and I'll write down who owes what for the who's overdue for August, for example, and then I'll write who still owes for September, because I have a lot of folks who, well, I have a handful of folks who do seasonal prepayment. I have a handful of folks that do auto pay, which was run last night, and then I've got a list of everyone else who is not on auto pay and doesn't do prepayment, so they still owe for the month. And then I have a second list here of people who still owe for August going into September. And so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people for just mowing services that owe about $2,300. So math out however you want to math it out. I expect to get out of those 9 people, I expect to have most of those paid up by either today or tomorrow, because a lot of them are just kind of like, it just happens that way. Like they just always pay the first or second day of the following month. I don't know why. And actually 1, 2 paid last night when I sent out reminders. So there's actually only 7. And then from, oh no, 3 paid last night. Yeah, she paid. So 3 paid last night. So there's only 6 people left, okay, that have not paid for August. And I expect most of those will be paid in by tomorrow afternoon, because that's typically what goes down. Now, there's a little bit of an issue on a couple of these. 3 of them, or no. Yes, 3 of them I didn't actually bill. August was chaotic. August was miserable. The mower went down, employee issues. rain just nonstop. I got rained out for the first time in 10 years in August. I had to skip a few yards. It was miserable. I could not breathe, basically, right? So 3 of these folks, I just didn't put their invoice in the mail. And here's the deal. I didn't forget. I didn't have time, and I just didn't do it. And I just, I'm getting home late. I'm tired. I'm wore out. I'm miserable. I'm angry because I'm dealing with employees, and, with all the rain, like, as caught up as I was, you get a couple complaints here and there, and it just sucks. So, like, it wasn't that I forgot. It wasn't that I messed up. It's just, I just didn't do it. It was one of those times. They're very few and far between for me, but it was a rough month, and we're playing catch up now. So 3 of these remaining 6 might be a little bit delayed. It might be the end of the week, because 2 of these ladies typically pay me when I'm out actually mowing their yard. So my phone's overheating. So yeah, there's only, I don't think any of these people are going to be like later than this week. I'm going to go ahead and mark off the 3 that paid last night. And going into September, also last night I had 2 payments, and I've got a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 customers, and I got 2 payments. 2 payments to cover September. And those 19 customers total out to a little under $4,500. So math your math, and so that's just for mowing. That doesn't include any landscape projects, cleanup work. We are going into September. A lot of these folks are going down from weekly to bi-weekly, so their pricing is going to be a little bit less this month, but also I get some room to breathe, right? I normally want to stay weekly in September, but August was so miserable, and we've had these 2 weeks now of 70-degree temps, when normally at this time of year we're looking at 95 plus with no rain, total drought. So things are like weirdly slowing down in September, which normally September we're wall to wall. So I'm not complaining. I'm taking it easy, but hey, look, those are some real deal numbers. And I'm curious how they stack up to other people's, because one thing I did mention is we had, I want to say, $1,400 in auto payments billed last night. So on top of that, 4,500-ish, math it out. And that doesn't include people who do seasonal prepayment, which there's like 6 or 7 or 8 of those. I don't even think about them. I just kind of go do their work, and like I don't really factor them in that much. But we also, I did pick up a few new customers last month, so it's a little bit higher than typical. But anyway, on to the next one. This thing's going way longer than I expected, but got some real numbers for you. And I just wanted to share that because, like I say, I heard one guy saying he does 100 customers and was bragging he makes $8,000 a month, and I'm like, I would jump off a bridge. Like I would accidentally run into a ditch accidentally if I was doing 100 customers and only making $600 more a month or $1,000 more a month than I am. I would be miserable. And then there's one guy who every week his customer list, his total customers, he says, fluctuates from 120. I've heard it as low as 87 and as high as 120. And like every other day that number goes whoop. Those are not real fluctuations. Like, be careful who you're listening to. I'm just gonna leave it that way. On to the next. I just finished up a property, and I was gonna show it off, but the millisecond I was about to take my phone out, older fella pulled up here and said he was wanting a quote on his property. So I am following behind him, and we're gonna see what this yard looks like. It's a couple miles down, so let's see. Also, while I was working on that property, I got a text message from one of those 9 customers and says, I'm so sorry I forgot your payment, and I'm gonna leave your payment on the porch for when you come. So like I predicted, I'll be getting that one on Thursday, and odds are it'll be for September and August, because she has never missed in, I think, 6 or 7 years. She has never missed a payment, and she's almost always, her and her husband are almost always paid up the very first week of the month. So yeah, man, August was rough for everybody, right? So I'll get her payment just like I predicted. And then I remembered one of the 9 is, again, my fault, because she is an auto pay customer, and I was supposed to call her and get updated credit card information. And look, I was over my ears in water, literally, and stress and everything going wrong. So I just never did it. So I'll go by her house today to mow, and hopefully she's out there, and we'll get that updated. And like I say, we're burning through this overdue list on day 1 of September. Well, day 2 because of the holiday, right? But I'm almost wondering if we're just going to have all 9 payments, overdue, quote unquote, payments, within the next, I mean, probably by the end of the day, with the exception of 2 of them who get their invoice in the mail, right? So yeah, let's go anyway, see what this guy's got on his property here. So we're probably not going to get that quote. Went out and looked at his property, and there was a lot to it. Just, you know, older folks, they just gather stuff, man, especially around here. It's like they're all these little trinkets and lawn ornaments, and like they try to make all these little rock beds, and they're just the most poorly planned setups. So like, just to mow his property, it was big. If I just mowed everything, it's $120 a visit. And just to help the old guy out, I told him an extra $30 to weed eat around his house. And you know, that's just sort of doing what I can, because that property is just, there's so many little trinkets and stuff, and I'm trying to get out of these properties, and I'm trying to get out of that area. But here I am putting quotes in on it. Like, what's wrong with me? But he tugs at my heartstrings, man. He's saying he has like heart disease, and it seems as though, you know, like he didn't seem like he was doing very well. I feel bad for him, but like, dude, at a certain point, like, I can't let my feeling bad for someone get in the way of like doing what I need to do. That's why I'm in certain positions that I'm in, where I'm just like constantly wore out and tired and running from yard to yard and driving all the time. But I didn't get that quote. But then after I got done looking at his, I got a call for another quote, and it's further out. I'm gonna look at it. I shouldn't. Why am I doing this? Why do I do this to myself? I'm gonna look at it just to be friendly and cordial, and like, yeah, sorry, you know, $200 a cut because you're 30 minutes away. Okay, Aaron, from now on, no more quotes outside of your service range. Stop it. But anyway, I came over to this next yard, and I saw this wreck. I'll put a picture up now. And that's bad. It's really bad. And there's a little bit more to that wreck, potentially. If my theory pans out, I'll tell you more about it later, but it would just be dumb speculation for right now. So it's a bad wreck, dude. I mean, it happened moments before I got there, because I was sitting at the light, and then all these cars were stopping, rushing over with med kit bags and trying to help and all this stuff. So it had just happened before I pulled up on it, and then moments later police came. So it was bad. But we might talk about that more later. Oh, my payments. I got more payments. I already told you the one lady texted me that she's sorry, and I'll get that on Thursday. And then the lady that I just mowed for, we got her card updated, so I got that payment. So for September, I have 4 people. One is routinely like 2 days behind. I don't know why, but it's fine. It's been that way for 6 years. Like, whatever, she'll pay it. 2, 3. The last 3 are the ones that I didn't send the bill for. So I don't blame them, and I don't expect them to pay it until like maybe next week, but they'll pay it. So September is now, as far as I'm concerned, covered. We'll see if this one lady that's always 2 days late comes through, okay? But if she comes through, then I'll consider it fully covered, because then the only thing that's left from September are the 3 that I forgot to bill because they're the only people that go in the mailbox, which is annoying. But anyway, let's go on to the next here. I just went back by that wreck. It's all still out there, about 30-40 minutes later. And so it's not what I thought. I was worried that it was my customer's truck, because she had been lending it to a friend of hers. And as I was driving toward the yard after seeing the wreck, I was like, oh, is that her? Is that their truck? Is that him that took the truck, or what happened? And oddly enough, I went and mowed the lawn, and I started talking to her, and she says that he had just taken the truck, and they had a small argument, and he sped off with the truck. And then I went, oh no. But thankfully it's a different truck. I went back by, it was all still out there. Definitely a different truck, so it's not the guy. So yeah, that was my theory I was talking about, and it just so happened that it was all still out there when I came back through, so I can close that loop. Here we are at the same landscape in the fall, going into October. You can see we've still got color. And this is what I mean by year-round color. You got the yellows in the back, you got the pink in the front. Now that the crepe myrtle's not blooming, and now that the hydrangeas are going out of season, and these hydrangeas will get really big next year. So you'll have a giant wall of white hydrangeas in the summer. These azaleas actually bloomed in the summer, which is uncharacteristic, but I expect those to keep blooming pink there all fall long, and those will also get big next year. But this is what I mean by year-round color, and you just get something nice to look at all year long instead of just green, 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 green. And then one thing I would note also is just from the road, you can even see all that color, okay? And it just looks amazing. It looks fantastic. You know, you can see the yellow, you can see the pink, and it just stands out when you're driving by and when the lawn's cut and clean. It's a great look altogether.